Hey everybody! So this upcoming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we both have Orange Swim's Discord tournament and the Moon Men's Discord tournament. And with these tournaments coming up, I thought it'd be fun to do a video actually predicting what decks I think will do well at these tournaments, so you guys have a good idea of what to be on the lookout for as you're watching them get streamed. Let's dive right into it. So the first deck I want to talk about today is Mono Blue Doflamingo. Doflamingo is a deck that focuses on the Warlord character type and organizing the top card of your deck so that you can use his effect to cheat cards into play while simultaneously getting off a very large swing. There are a couple of things that make this a very strong leader. The first is that on top of cheating cards into play, you're getting off a 7k swing. The value of that attack cannot be understated. Why simply use Dawn to play a character from your hand when you can use Dawn to play a character as well as pump your leader so that you can apply more pressure to your board? On top of that, not only are you playing a character, but you're playing a character from your deck. This is ensuring that you're keeping your hand at a very high number throughout the whole game. Hand advantage over your opponent is incredibly important. Also, the way that you're ensuring that you have the Warlord on top of your deck is through cards like Perona and similar effects. And this is not only letting you make sure you have a Warlord on top of your deck, but it's also controlling what cards you're playing and drawing as well as when. Normally, a deck that got this much control over your own actions would lose tempo and advantage, but because you're not only playing cards but also swinging with your big leader, you can keep up tempo and pace with many other fast decks in the game without sacrificing any amount of hand advantage. This is a huge benefit that this deck holds over most other decks in the game. One of this deck's bigger weaknesses, however, is its reliance on the style of cards such as Perona or the Doflamingo blocker. If you do not see ways to reorganize the top of your deck and ensure that you're getting your leader effect off, then you basically just become a Warlord tribal deck. Even worse, a Warlord tribal deck with a vanilla leader that isn't being used for anything. Even through this weakness, however, the Warlord package is so strong that without seeing your engine, you still have a chance at winning the game. It is by no means an auto loss. And that is what makes this deck my third choice for decks that I think will top at these tournaments. Another big thing holding Doflamingo back is that it isn't a wildly popular deck right now. So, if not a lot of people are playing it, not a lot of people are going to top with it. However, this next deck is incredibly popular, and that is Mono Green Odin. Mono Green Odin is a deck that takes advantage of the very powerful Supernova and Wano Country cards in the game, while simultaneously being able to pitch some of the cards that sometimes clunk up and are more dead in your hand to be able to play more proactively than your opponent. Green has some of the strongest effects in the game. Between Momonosuke and Jewelry Bonnie coupled with Raizo and the Blocker Killer, it by far has the most card draw that any color has access to. While it does not have strict removal the way that the other colors do, it is very easy for it to remove the average card that is already rested on the field. This can be done either after the character attacks or with one of the many available effects that Green has that rest active characters your opponent controls. It also has access to one of the strongest cards in the game, which is the Yamato Secret Rare. The Yamato Secret Rare almost never actually connects with an opponent. People are too scared of it, and rightfully so. If you get hit with it, you lose 2 life, and neither of those life goes to your hand or gets a trigger ability. What ends up happening most games is an opponent will get rid of your Yamato or play a plethora of blockers to ensure that it never hits. However, when I play my Yamato, it forces my opponent to change their entire game plan to answer the Yamato, because if it connects, I am likely going to win. Since I'm already playing more proactively than most decks as Odin, at least in the early game, playing Yamato and forcing them to stop a turn just to answer Yamato progresses you very far. On top of that, if they can't answer it for whatever reason, or you can ensure that it gets through, it's basically an auto win of that game. Odin also has incredibly powerful early and late game cards and never loses tempo at any stage of the game. It has two real weaknesses. One of them is that it can really struggle against a lot of board control. Like if you're playing against a blue-purple or a mono-purple Kaido that is just killing everything, sometimes it has a hard time, but not even that big, honestly. Its true weakness is that it is incredibly difficult to play. But if you can get good with it and feel very comfortable, it will treat you very well. Before we move on to what I would have said was the best deck possible, I want to throw some honorable mentions out there, because the 3 decks that I'm choosing to be top 3 are by no means the only viable options out there. First deck I want to bring up is Mono Green Kid. Kid plays very similarly to Odin, or at least it can. The real only difference is access to the Kinemon card as well as the leader effect, and that you can build a deck that doesn't need to run quite as many Wano Country cards as Odin does. So why would I say Odin is better than Kid? Well, Odin lets you play proactively throughout the entire stages of the game, whereas Kid really usually only comes up at the very end when you're trying to close a game. And Green doesn't really struggle to close a game in my experience. I think that Kid is still very efficient, and if you're less comfortable with Odin, Kid is an excellent card for you to play instead, because it has access to most of the same card pool. It just doesn't quite measure up to the different things that Odin can do. The next honorable mention is Hybrid Law. Law has some very explosive plays and access to a pretty solid card pool. However, it is a very easy game plan to disrupt for a lot of meta decks. Things with a lot of removal and board control will not allow this deck to combo off as it should. And even when everything is going perfectly, it has no guarantee to outpace the other decks of the game. Still, it is very strong and very fun, and when in proper hands is definitely a top contender. Lastly, let's talk about Zoro. Zoro is one of the easier decks for a player to pick up and simply begin playing the game. There's also a fair amount of flexibility in how you choose to play him, so you can be creative and build him to your liking. However, even at his most optimal state, he isn't going to be the strongest deck at the table. Still, he can be very tricky for an opponent to deal with, especially if they don't know what they're doing, and is easily a top contender in the game. And lastly, the deck that I think has the most potential to be winning all of these tournaments is Hybrid Kaido. Hybrid Kaido has a ton of versatility in the ways that it can be played, as well as a very strong leader effect innately, and access to by far the best card pool in the game. Blue and purple together have access to easily the best removal, as well as the best late game, as well as one of the strongest early games in the game. Between Sentomaru to get you through the early, or Onigashima to get you to the late faster, as well as your Kings and your Kaidos to help you beat out the late game, and having just such giant bodies on board like King or the Pacifistas or the Kaidos, there's not much an opponent can do. You also gain access to Who's Who and 1-drop Law Blocker, and perhaps even 3-drop Boa Blocker to help you survive those early game turns against aggro decks. And then, with the new 4-drop Boa Blocker, you have access to card draw that can rival Green's Raizo, something that Blue-Purple was kind of missing before that card. In the proper hands, Blue-Purple does not have a single weak moment in the game. Your early game consists of your Kaido swinging into your opponent's character so that you can get some ramp off, as well as either playing Sentomaru to build up a giant board, or playing defensively with Who's Who and your cheap blockers so that you can get to the late game. Then, once you're there, you can use a combination of King and either Kaidos to ensure that both your opponent's board is small and your board is huge. This deck's two largest weaknesses are both involving skill. One of them is the skill in playing it. Playing this deck is very hard, and critical misplays will literally cost you the game more than most other decks. So, if you're not comfortable with it, you probably shouldn't be playing it. The other weakness is that there is so much variance in how you build it that you really need to have a build that you are confident in. There are too many good ways to build and play this deck that fixing it and solving it for yourself is a tricky matter, and you need to make sure that you are comfortable with it before anything else. And there you have it. Those are the decks that I'm going to be on the lookout for in these upcoming tournaments and the ones that I think will perform the best. However, in this game, more than any other game I have played, player skill is far more important than what deck you're playing. Don't simply pick up Odin or Blue-Purple Crocodile because you think it is the best deck. You should be playing what you are comfortable with. You should be building builds that you feel good about. Making sure that the deck meshes with the player's playstyle is far more important than just being a slave to the meta decks in this game. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you are happy with what you are playing. Today's video was sponsored by Top Deck TCG. This is an awesome website where not only can you buy singles for some of your favorite trading card games, but it acts as a hub for various content creators so you can stay up to date in those games. This is their homepage. As you can see, they currently carry Flesh and Blood, Digimon, Transformers, and Star Wars Destiny. They are going to be carrying One Piece in the winter when its official American release comes out. If you go over to game videos and podcasts, you can see some of your favorite content creators, including your favorite One Piece content creators, for all of these various games so that you can stay up to date on what is good right now. It's all very easy to use, and the guy is great. And if you use your promo code TheMoonmen, not case sensitive at all, you'll get 10% off any order you place. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. I certainly hope you did. You can find links to my Twitch and my Patreon in the description, as well as the promo code and the links to Top Deck TCG. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.